The weather outside is frightful, but in here it is also frightful. Happy Christmas, one and all, and welcome to our annual offering of the Book of Noel. You know the drill. We take a terrible Christmas film, tear it apart, and become closer in the endeavour. My name's Joe Deeney. As ever, I'm joined by my laconic brother Connell. Say hello, mate.
Hi.
And look who came crawling back. After a year in the Christmas wilderness. I'm like good King Wenceslas on the Feast of Stephen and the two urchins below. Sorry. That's right. It's Lizzie Denning and Sazi Klovice. We're gonna do four this year for I can't remember why, but our first one is a sequel to a film we've already hated, and it's something that has no reason to exist. So, giving his opinion on the black pool of films, it's Connell with his synopsis.
Synopsis.
Imagine Jingle All The Way too, but instead of Arnie, replace him with Mater from Cars, and replace Sinbad with a third-rate wrestler, and you have a sequel. What's the story, I hear you say? The same. It's just pretty much exactly the same. Feel free to change a few details, but basically, Dad runs around like a blue house fly looking for this season's hot toy. We need to feature a wrestler, please, because Vince has bought this franchise now, so make sure there's a wrestler in there. Who's available? Santino Morello. Yeah, obviously he's available, but is there anyone else? Because he's rubbish, isn't he? He's not a real wrestler. He's just silly, isn't he? He's just really lower card and stupid and shit, and no one likes him. Yeah, but he's available. Kane not available? No, I can't do Kane. He's busy with real work. He's got actual work to do. Batista, no, he does real films as well. He's proper actor. It's a little less obvious, but Mrs. Brown's Boys needs the bear from Toy Story 3 to make his daughter happy, or so he thinks. His ex-wife's new husband, who seems lovely at first, buys all the bears. So waste man dad Louis C.K. can't have one. We follow his lazy-ass attempts at getting one of these bears until he does, and then his daughter didn't want it anyway. She wanted a weird threesome situation with a mum and two dads.
So, you mentioned Econ, it's WWE. I mean, did they see the first one and think, we've got to get this on brand? But, yeah, So I'll tell you what, Sazzy, you're shaking your head. Tell us what you thought.
My prevailing thought about this, okay, I'm going to get right down to it. This film fundamentally changed me as a person because I think you'll remember way back in the midst of time, before Joe sacked me and Lizzie from Book of Noel and then
for being women, I think back. It was.
Yeah. I think it might have been for that.
Yeah.
It was sexist, please, it was racist.
It was.
Please
that's what he told me.
The Daily Mail for exclusive story from me and Lizzie. But I think you'll remember us covering Jingle All The Way 1, and I think I railed aggressively against the toxicity of the men in that film, and I take it all back. Please bring it back. Jingle All The Way 2 is, as you said, the same story. A dad is looking for a toy for his kid. And that's about it. There's the lack of pure testosterone hostility between the two men, the two male leads, the two dads, as it were, just sort of leaves it with nothing in the center. So I loved it. 5 stars. It's brilliant. It's my favorite. But no. Absolutely terrible.
I didn't hate it as much as the first one. I really hate the first one. I'm not saying this was good, because obviously it wasn't, but I think, Joe, you said last time that the film had a rotten heart, Jingle All The Way 1, and I very much agree with that, and I think this one was slightly less.
Well, I think it suffered from, strangely, this doesn't succeed as a film as much as Jingle All The Way, but it's not as fucking horrible as it, because it's essentially a family caper based around the MacGuffin of a toy that a kid wants. To make that narrative gallop along, you need the kid to really, really want that toy. And all the hijinks that come from that are from that central premise. Thing is, for that to work, you need a kid who becomes Darth Vader, who's like a really horrible kid to be in the company of, and a feckless dad who's so close to being an absent father that it's not a really kind of appealing trait in a dad. For that to work, it has to. This has tried to address that, and in doing so, the whole point of the film has had the arse taken out of it. Because if you make the characters a bit nicer, and the little girl, I actually thought was quite pleasant.
Yeah, she's a nice kid.
But the film doesn't work. If you're not kind of tearing over people to get a toy, it's not a family caper about getting a MacGuffin. So it is nicer, but it was really fucking boring. You know, there's nothing to talk about almost.
They also didn't introduce the toy until quite a long way in. Yeah. So I was a bit like, what's happened to it? And then when they did, it looked like, I think maybe they'd learnt their lesson from the first film where they'd clearly spent quite a lot developing Turbo Man. And this one, it looked like a hooker duck toy. It was just shit.
Harrison, hey, steady on with
the end of the first one. At the end of the first one, Arnie becomes Turbo Man. And then this, like, what's his name? The cable guy? John the cable guy or something like that? Larry. He doesn't dress up as the bear at the end, which is like quite an obvious thing they should have done, because that's what the first film did.
Turns out
there is a bear of him. Yeah, exactly. Well, there's that. But there is a bear of him. He has that horrible nightmare where it's just bears everywhere.
They get her
the bear
done.
That looks like him, yeah.
And there is a
good
bear.
Bit that.
There is a Larry. Yeah, it's kind of the best bit in it. But you know, as Lizzie said, because they don't introduce it for such a long time, you don't know what you're doing here, and the sort of there's just no jeopardy in it, and he's not. They're not actually doing anything really dangerous to get the toy or anything like that. The rich stepdad's outsourced it to his butler or head of security or
just henchman, isn't it?
Henchman.
And he's made his money in the cardboard box game, and he's got a henchman. Cool.
The only thing that I was thinking as well that didn't make any sense was the idea that these toys are really scarce. That's kind of the point, isn't it? But he would go to the shops and they'd be full of them, and the stepdad would buy all of them. But they didn't seem to have any kind of stock issue. It just seemed to be like every day there'd be another 100.
Yeah.
And how did he know what order he was going to hit all the shops in as well? Because it was like a real race, shop to shop. Like if Larry the cable guy had just gone to a different shop, he would have. There was only one henchman.
I think if we start prodding this boat for weaknesses, we're soon going to be sinking.
I take your point.
Well, a bit that annoys me about it is that when I see the WWE logo come onto the screen, I expect some sort of low-level violence at some point in this film. I'm thinking, right, I want to see chair shots. I want to see power bombs. I want to see a power slam. You know, take me there. Take me to Suplex City. Nothing. None of that. Boring. That's just boring then. Yeah. Like, don't put the WWE brand on it, and don't put a wrestler in it. Even the first one, Jingle All The Way 1, had a wrestler, and he was violent in the film. Big Show was in it, wasn't he?
Yeah.
As like the giant elf. And that wasn't a WWE film. So come on, Vince, what were you thinking, man?
I mean, they did make him fly backwards through the air a lot. Like when they didn't know how to end a scene, they were just like, have him fly backwards through the air.
I also think this might be the, you know, you say it's not full of WWE action set pieces. I think it's the only Christmas film where the protagonist shits themselves. So that was a good bit. That was a good bit.
I did like that bit. That bit stood out as a good bit for me.
But also second, it isn't even the second. It isn't even the only Christmas film that
I forgot. Christmas Land. The end of Christmas Land. She's in the sleigh with Tucker Barnes. She leans in. I think I might have just followed through. It's that fish finger sandwich from before.
No, this is a throw
Sneezed
forward.
a bit hard.
to another film that we're looking at.
The
Holiday.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's the theme this year.
Yeah.
Christmas turds.
We've really picked some turkeys this year.
Yeah.
Okay, now the last two better be good, because these first two are a bit wank.
They're not. Spoiler alert.
Have you seen them all?
I haven't seen Hot Frosty yet, but
that was my one.
But I've seen them. Apparently, there's a Mean Girls reference in it, though, so I'm pleased about that.
Yeah.
Probably
well, obviously, that's the litmus test of whether Lizzie likes a film.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. Mean Girls? Does it reference Mean Girls? And again, I have no hate towards you, Lizzie. That's an exceptional rubric. I'm fully with you. Why didn't we watch Mean Girls? Good. There's a Christmas bit of Mean Girls.
Yeah, quite a famous Christmas bit, and that wasn't even a Christmas film.
Yeah.
That's it. We're not talking about Jingle All The Way 2 anymore.
I don't think anyone shits themselves in Mean Girls, though, which is now what we need.
Now we need Connell's DVD extras to talk about how Lindsay Lohan just fucking went quiet and looked to the horizon for about 40 seconds.
If anybody, it was going to be Karen. Karen is the mean girl who's most likely to shit herself.
Is that the one who's in all the Christmas Hallmark films?
No, that's
Amanda Siegfried.
Yeah.
No, not her. There's the fourth one, like the Ringo of the four.
Yeah. She's in Hot Frosty.
Lacey.
Yeah, exactly.
Not Lacey Sherbert.
No, it is her.
It is her. She's in.
Oh, is that who I meant? I meant the other one. I meant the silly one.
My father, the inventor of toaster strudel. That one.
I don't think she would shit herself. She's too uptight. I meant Amanda Seyfried because she's the one who's going to zone out and forget where she is and that she's not on. How has this happened? Because
there's nothing to say about this film.
I'll be honest. Anyone can shit themselves. Yeah, it's not beyond anyone. You can be as uptight as you like. Get yourself a gut infection. You're shitting yourself to sleep. Soz. It happens to the best of us, me included.
At Christmas.
It could be at Christmas. It depends when it falls. Yeah. Nurseries are a petri dish of gut infections for me. Just like pepper them throughout my ear. Like, oh, great. I'm shitting myself in a car again.
I've still got years of it as well. So disgusting.
Oh, almighty. We used to talk about Hallmark films.
My main other note was, I don't know what mood stabilizers the mum is on, but I want them.
I can't imagine the world where her and Larry the Cable Guy were an item. I don't like the term punching above your weight, but that's Larry the Cable Guy in an amateur boxing match with Sugar Ray Robinson. It's insane.
But they're still mates as well.
I know, I mean,
and then these two dads tried to compete.
Well, Connell,
they're competing for no real reason.
Connell, Larry the Cable Guy's been cuckolded by a bald fella. He should be used to it by now. Don't worry, it happens. Yeah. But I
reckon Larry the Cable Guy can get violent at the flick of a switch.
Yeah,
he looks the type of guy who can just turn it on like blind rage of fury in the woods, in his cabin in the woods, burying bodies behind that caravan. I would not like to be walking through them woods alone with his fishing hook in his hat. Was it a fishing hook or was it a paperclip?
It's a fishing hook, isn't it?
I don't know.
Man of the land.
It was annoying me. Every time I saw it, it annoyed me. I kept looking at it thinking, why the fuck have you got that on your fucking hat? Take it off. Just stop. Take your hat off. Take your hat off. Take your hat off.
He's a bloody good parent, though. She's a well-adjusted kid, that one. And I like when out of nowhere she says, she seems like, I'm going fishing. Out of nowhere she says, why are you and mum not married anymore? Like withering. Bloody hell, I can't find your neck in. You're fishing.
Yeah.
Here's a Twinkie.
That little hand grenade for you.
That was the most telling bit, because that's also one of my points. As I said, all Larry says about their relationship in that conversation is that, your mum, she likes books and classical music and
petite fours. Petite fours.
Petite fours. and me. And I was like, okay, expand. I wanted to know more about that. Exactly that. I wanted Jingle All The Way 2-1, which was the
the Phantom Menace.
That's what I was looking for. And and like, as I said, like, because it's you said it, I think, Joe, that and Lizzie as well, that it just moves so slowly. The first half an hour, there's not really anything. So I'm just sitting there trying to invent jeopardy in this film. So I'm looking at this stepdad and I'm thinking, he's weirdly obsessive about this child.
Yeah.
And and as I said, this film did really fundamentally change me as a person, and it's made me a worse person, because then I just started imagining what his motivation could be, and all I could come up with is that he's some kind of demon that eats the souls of children on Christmas Day. But like in Stardust, they have, their hearts have to be full, they have to be glowing with Christmas joy, and then he just munches them up. Hence why the mum is so empty. And all she does, the whole character is so underwritten and just one-dimensional.
She is a cardboard box.
She is.
That's why he loves her.
That's why he loves her.
That is proper film journalism. Love it.
Well, did I tell you about the time I interviewed the woman who trained the cats for Bohemian Rhapsody?
Wow.
That's the woman who trained the cardboard boxes for Jingle All The Way too.
The Harrison Bears.
Yeah. The beginning of the film, she says that the easily the best actor in the film, the daughter. Oh, I tell you what, the bald stepdad, he's not Daniel Day-Lewis, is he? Bloody hell. She was running rings around him. She's about 6. But she says to Dad, the early bird gets the worm. And then Dad says, but you know what happens to the worm? It gets gobbled up. That's the point of the idiom, you moron.
Yeah.
That's what she just said. No wonder Mum left. Yeah. Fucking idiot.
It's like he's Mr. Anti-Capitalist, isn't he? And then she's gone and married Mr. Capitalist.
I don't know. He's never taken a handout. Remember that. It's important for the Trump fans, that one, isn't it?
It was important that we knew that neither of them had ever accepted help from anyone. That was
even
very
though that's
key.
Fine. Yeah.
Yes. Even though they might have had a nicer time.
Yeah, I liked that they could a mob can form in an instant in America.
Yeah.
They were outside that church.
Tiki torches.
I can't remember what was going on now. They came out of the church and they thought that he was trying to steal one of the bears off a boy who'd stolen it off him. And within a split second, everyone in that church was a mob and they were chasing him. It's amazing. I'd hate to live in America because I do stupid shit all the time and I'd get mobbed. I'd get mobbed instantly.
And they'd be calling you Ebenezer Deanie.
Yeah.
That was very cutting, wasn't it? Ebenezer Baxter. Good one. Good one, mob.
I've never been married. I mean, sadly, and I have no children. Brilliant. But I was just watching. I love kids. Sorry. But
see you later.
Bye, everyone. See ya. I've been
Lizzie knows a woman who trains cats. You should have a word.
Right, JD Vance. Chill out. I was just trying to hide my very obvious sadness of never fulfilling my destiny as a woman by producing children, all right? By levity and comedy. And you're calling me Taylor Swift? I don't like it. But my point was, would you, if you sadly your relationships broke up, you had a child, you were looking for a new partner, find a partner who didn't understand the concept of a step-parent? Because I've said it before, the stepdad is a weird man.
He is.
But that scene where, the mum is reading her book, don't worry, you're her dad too. Like, number 2. Yes, number 2. She didn't come out of you. You've only just met her. Why are you so upset that she doesn't love you as much as her actual dad?
Yeah.
But she still does love you. It's weird. if a friend of mine came to me and said, I'm seeing this guy, I really want, I really like him, he gets on with my child, but he's a little bit obsessive, or he's a little bit much about really being this child's father. I mean, I am a hater and I do hate love and relationships, so of course I'd advise her to leave, but this time it would be genuine. You really should leave this man.
Yeah, but he's made his billions on the cowboy box industry.
He's made nothing.
He's got a big pull there. Yeah, he made nothing. He's riding the wave.
If he's rich enough, you can do a Mariah Carey and sue him for wasting your time if you leave him. How much did she make off that billionaire? Fucking tons.
Yeah, that's decent.
So solid. I'm still waiting.
I feel all Christmassy now.
I know.
Yeah. That's like a satsuma being injected into my arm. So what's definitely one thing we haven't talked about, though, and that is the incredible wordplay at the end. Because it turns out he didn't yearn for a Harrison doll. It was just the inane scratchings of a kid with a crayon. Harrison was together as one. I want my family to get me together. It was a stretch. But
it was a stretch. But before I'd even been told that, I knew exactly what was going on there. She showed that letter, I went, they've read it wrong. It said something else. I didn't quite catch what it actually said because it said something completely different.
It said, my name is Azrael. My name is Azrael Gabison, the unborn child of him.
I genuinely, a lot of the time sitting through this film, I was thinking, I can't believe I complained about the other films that we've watched for this series, because truly, I know that, an inspiring message for the youth about 10 years ago was it gets better. That is a lie. It gets worse. We haven't even talked about any of the sort of the big set pieces with the Christmas lights, or a grown man thinking that he could drive a trailer full of snow for half an hour and it would still be snow when he got back.
Fighting with bears. Yeah.
Fighting with bears.
I don't remember the
man dressed up in a bear suit.
Oh yeah.
It's
I watched it this morning, and I for the second time.
I thought I'm sorry.
Go on. I was just going to say also, standing under some flour, and I feel bad for Larry and his.
Oh, don't. He's got very far in his career with very limited talents. I thought it was an absolute joke. The end of the film, I just realized there are 7 minutes of credits. It's like Lord of the Rings. 7 minutes of credits. What for?
Yeah. Every Harrison bear is its own person.
Oh, and for a Harrison bear, the big selling point of it is that you can press its belly and it records your name and talks back. It's like an AI quality. They've been on the market for a long, long time now.
Yeah, Fergus did that, I think.
Eddie Ruxpin did that back in the mid-90s, didn't he?
Teddy Ruxpin, which I still have never had.
I prefer Eddie.
I said Teddy Ruxpin.
I thought you said Eddie. God, I thought you said Eddie.
I was there, man.
I mean, I wasn't there because I couldn't grab one, despite how many times I circled it in the Argos catalogue. It just never appeared at Christmas. But yes, that was my exact thought. What's this budget Teddy Ruxpin, other than learning the kid's name, just repeating it on a recording, I assume. What is it doing? Why does every kid in the world want this toy? Because
you can say shut up and it goes, hi, shut up. That was funny. That was clever.
Like a talk boy.
Oh, you could tell I was a goody two shoes child, couldn't you?
I think the problem with the Harrison bears though was that not all the kids wanted them. No, in fact, no one wanted them. Even the girl that we were following didn't even want it. It was these two fellas who just got confused as fuck and were like, "Oh, we better buy all these bears because, I think our kids might want them." And then no one wanted them, but they were the best-selling toy because they bought them all like idiots.
You need
great film
for the for the kind of capitalist item to have any kind of cachet, you need a cast full of Veruca Salts giving it the "I want the world," not like relatable. You know, she's been through a lot. Poor little kid. She understands how idioms work. You know, she's all right.
Yeah, they all looked quite disappointed when they handed out all the bears at the end. All these kids were like quite ambivalent. Oh, thanks.
Do you think the real message of this film is that this town sort of dominated by a generationally wealthy box magnate is just a seething pot of rage? Because as Connell said, there was a riot when they thought he was stealing that toy off that kid. There was another riot later on, well, almost a riot, when they thought all the Harrisons had been bought by the Boxman, which they had. So is this the moral of the story? Capitalism leads to rage.
Wasn't it that with the other kind of WWF/E adjacent film we did, the Santa with Muscles, it was diabolical, but we had something to talk about with it. It was really rough to get through, but there was lots to sink your teeth into. And you'd think with some kind of, it's World Wrestling Entertainment, the E is entertainment, you think there would be some kind of narrative, like spectacle hook for us to kind of sink our teeth in, water cooler moment, talking about it later. I can't believe they got involved with this script. I can't imagine Vince, the horrific abuser that he is, reading through the script and going, "Oh, we need to get involved with this, brother." They really should have, I don't know, thrown Larry the Cable Guy off the top of the Hell in the Cell through the Spanish announcer table or something. Just something.
Yeah. Just something. I think the closest we got to wrestling was him, as again, to piggyback off Lizzie, but flying backwards off a mechanical bucking reindeer.
There's a sort of rodeo Santas.
Oh theme. That was strange. They were throwing them toys away. He was just careless. Where do you think it was set? Because no one had Larry's accent, and I put that down as a criticism at first, but then I realized I live in London, so you know, it happens.
Yeah,
it does.
Whatever.
It just felt like Nowheresville, America,
like Alaska or somewhere, because it was like he did ice fishing.
Yeah. So it has to be in the northern band, at least kind of
snow anywhere near. They had to drive for the snow, so it can't be. I mean,
this is my warming, isn't it?
This is my child.
It's all the Harrison bears we've produced. We're just throwing
all
them
those Harrison bears that were
landfill.
burning off because no one wants them.
And cardboard boxes that Victor is selling on Amazon.
Well, on that bombshell.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, well, I think we've done about 20 films so far, and I might recommend this one the least, and it's not even the worst.
Yeah, because that farmyard one was the worst, wasn't it?
Oh yeah,
the Christmas farm. That was the worst.
I thought the Dolly Parton one was pretty rough.
Oh, that was.
Oh god.
I dare you to watch the one we watched last year. It's on Netflix. It's by the same person who did Dude, Where's My Donkey? And it makes this look like Citizen Kane. It is.
The only other thing I wanted to ask was, like, as men, do you care very much about Christmas lights? Because I feel like a lot of American Christmas films are hung together with this premise that men are like in this Freudian battle to have the brightest house. And I don't know if the men in my life aren't masculine enough, or why I've just never experienced this.
Hello,
kind
Lizzie's
of
husband.
he wouldn't mind. Like, we string up some lights, but if the neighbour's lights are brighter, he's not very upset by it.
That scene where him and his friend are sat on the couch, and they hear a phone ringing, and for some reason the phone is at the bottom of a bowl of popcorn or something. What was that about?
Is that cheese string?
Was that in there? No, what's his name? John the Cable Guy and his mate,
John,
that B-list wrestler, are sat on the couch and they hear a phone ringing and they're going, looking underneath stuff like, "Oh, it's not my phone." And then he goes, "Oh, it's in there." Why? Why is it in there? And why is this in the film?
Just like the editing process.
Obviously a bit that you should have gone, oh, save that 2 minutes. Right. We don't need that in the film.
They must have looked at it all and gone, no, we can't cut anything. It's all good.
Wow. Masterpiece.
I mean, you're asking why a man
on the big screen.
Why a grown man who believes that Father Christmas is real puts his phone in a popcorn bowl, and I think that's a question that we need to leave alone.
Yeah, it's so weird. I actually watched because I was looking all over for this film at first, and
Disney, mate.
I just went on YouTube to see what they said about it, and I found like some behind the scenes stuff of this. It's just DVD extras essentially, and Santino Morello was on there, and he was talking about how he had the time of his life making this film, and he wants to do more films. He said, "He's like, I could see myself doing a lot more of these. This is great."
10 years ago,
and he said he was saying, "I can do any accents, mainly American ones. I can do whatever American accent you want," and his gimmick is that he's an Italian person. Now, I don't know if he's actually an Italian person and English is his second language, or if he's from an Italian background and has lived in America all his life, which is what I think is probably the case. So he's just an American putting an Italian accent on in wrestling. But then he's like going, "See, yeah, I can do any American accent like with his Italian accent." And then he starts going, "I'm walking here. See, I can do that." And then
make my day, punk. See, easy,
cool, dude. Like literally everyone can do those accents, Santino. Like, don't give up the day job, and you're quite lucky to have that day job because you're crap at that as well. I wonder what he's doing now. I bet he works in a shop or something, like a corner shop.
Please don't tag him. Like, I feel bad.
It's very rare that an actor, after a while in the game, thinks, "I think I could really give this wrestling a go." Yeah, this is never that way around. And Larry the Cable Guy sounds like a mid-90s, mid-tier wrestling name because they all had jobs, didn't they?
Yeah.
The IRS guy. I for a while thought that Larry the Cable Guy was. Do you remember there was I thought he was Joe the plumber.
So did I.
Remember that?
Yeah, so did I. In fact, on my notes here, I had to go through all the times I wrote Joe the plumber and delete it.
Who's Joe the plumber? I don't know who that is.
He was a plumber who, during a presidential election, I can't remember which one now.
It was an Obama one, wasn't it?
It was an Obama one.
Yeah.
Was sort of like accosted Obama about, why he wasn't doing anything for the working classes. I think that was the general gist of it.
And that was his springboard. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought, we're watching Joe the plumber made a film. Okay.
Good for you.
It took a real moment for me to Google and be like, oh, no.
I think their political Venn diagram is one circle, though. If I'm going to chance my arm on anything. Yeah.
Self-made men.
Yeah, bootstraps and all that. Never taken anything from the state, even though it might significantly help me and my family. Okay, well, we do hope you enjoyed that episode of the Book of Noel. Noel, depends where you're from.
We didn't even mention that Noel, the child's name is Noel.
We've got to finish this at some point, Sadie. I can't carry on talking about this fucking film.
Sorry.
It's all right. We'll be back very, very shortly for another window on the advent calendar with a film. I'd like to promise it's going to be a lot better. It isn't. It's The Holiday. It's on Netflix. It's wank. Merry Christmas, one and all. Bye.